What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the channel. I'm Sean Davis. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe here to the channel. Take a quick mini break. Now we're fully back up and running here with the season approaching. Training camp is coming up. Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick are going to have a press conference next week. We're going to have our thoughts and reactions to that next week as well. And our Anthony Davis film breakdown is dropping this weekend, Saturday/Sunday. So not a better time to subscribe here to the channel than right now, trying to hit 10,000 subs by the time the season gets going. But today I want to kind of, continue to play a review series. I want to look at Rui Hachimura, a guy that the Lakers still consider to be a part of this young core here in LA, or young core in air quotes. And what this season really looks like for Rui Hachimura. JJ Redick has raved about Rui Hachimura, and there's two particular things that he's really excited, I think, to see and with Rui. And number one, I think it's easily, the offensive rebounding. He's talked about that a ton with Rui and with this team in general about how, for one, he thinks Rui could be an elite offensive rebounder, and number two, how he's going to emphasize the Lakers players to crash from the corner specifically, which is something that that you see a lot of teams do now, especially the really good offensive rebounding teams. Now, to debunk a pretty common myth about offensive rebounding as relate to modern NBA offenses, which a lot of NBA offenses now are, running a lot more 5-out this in recent years. There is a narrative that, oh, look, if you're running 5-out, you're going to be a bad offensive rebounding team. And that is, I think, just false. For example, you look at one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the past 2 seasons in the Utah Jazz. They are a predominantly 5-out offense with head coach Will Hardy over there. They run some of the most creative and creative actions in all of basketball, and they really use their players well to their advantage, especially guys like Lauri Markkanen. I think they use their guards really well. I think down the stretch, like John Collins kind of started to get it turning around, but this isn't the Utah Jazz breakdown. But that's just to the point of me bringing up how, like, a lot of teams do use 5-out offenses and are still good offensive rebounding teams. It's more just the point of emphasizing it. And Darvin Ham never really emphasized it. His philosophy, if you will, in air quotes, was more or less to emphasize on transition defense. And the Lakers were still never really great at that either. The first year, they were awful in transition defense. Last year, if my memory serves me correctly, they were a little bit more closer to being middle of the pack transition defense-wise. So I do expect that to be something that's emphasized, and you hope to see Rui really hone in on that, get better at it, because there were stretches, actually, a lot of his tenure as a Laker, he's been bad as a rebounder. But there was a 2-week stretch, very randomly thrown in there last season, where he averaged 7 rebounds a game, had a couple of double-digit rebounds thrown in there as well. So you're hoping that JJ Redick can really tap into that ability for Rui Hachimura. Next up, I think with Rui, another big, point here this season, I would love to see them emphasize Rui more as a cutter and an off-ball mover without the ball. It felt like at times last season, the Lakers essentially said, hey, look, Rui, you're going to stand in the right corner or whatever. We're going to run this Bron AD or D'Lo AD, Austin AD, whatever pick and roll. And if they find you, knock it down or maybe attack the closeout or whatever. But there were times, especially in that Denver series, I wish we have seen a little bit more of it, where they really would tap into him as a baseline cutter to help, negate some pick and roll advantages. I would like to see him coming off the move a little bit more, maybe using his size to get downhill, because he's not a one-on-one break you down guy to get to the rim. If he goes one-on-one against you, he is more than likely going to settle for a pull-up mid-range jump shot, which, it's fine. It's definitely in his bag, but I would like to see them manufacture touches, if you want to think of that like a play calling standpoint. Manufacture some easy looks for Rui Hachimura around the basket. And honestly, that will help him, as a spot-up shooter a little bit more. And actually, that will draw more attention to him if I know as a defense that I have to be aware of where Rui is at all times, because, oh, crap, there's a slot cut or there's a baseline cut or there's him coming off of this DHO action or whatever, right? So I'm actually really curious to see how JJ uses Rui. I think I'm more so curious because of how much JJ's talked about him. Like, I think he does have legitimate plans for Rui heading into this upcoming season, especially with, like, I would bet money Rui Hachimura starts. But now it's time to talk about the defense, because the defense is something that's it's a problem, and he is very redundant, I think, with current day Bron on the defensive side of the floor. Reason being is because LeBron isn't a guy that I think is going to guard on the perimeter 82 nights a year, or let's, be more realistic, 70 regular season nights a year, right? You could maybe, let's just say 20 of those nights or whatever. So if LeBron is going to be used a lot more as an off-ball player, which whether or not like what position he guards or whatever, I think that is more likely like the case that he's going to roam and be off the ball. That's technically what Rui is probably at his best at as well, where he's a roamer. He gets to be off the ball and things like that. Because I don't think Rui has the foot speed to guard threes in space. He has the physicality maybe, but I do worry about Rui guarding out in space. So in an ideal world, this is why I'm more of an advocate of, okay, maybe at some point you get it to a max, or really this is where Christian Wood had a real argument to potentially start until he got in or he had surgery and he's going to miss the next 8 weeks. But it's just tough. It's a tough watching Rui defensively sometimes. Now, and this is also going to be somewhat controversial, I don't really want the Lakers to run like too much stuff for Rui. I kind of want Rui's stuff to come in with the concept of the offense where you have options for Rui built in, but like I'm not running a designed set necessarily, which is different than an offense. I'm not running a designed set more times than not for Rui. Like I said, the movement stuff, that's more like, okay, let's run this throughout the flow of the offense. Let's use him in some ways, like a Denver maybe even use the Aaron Gordon, where we're going to play him in the dunker. You have AD as the playmaking hub out of the post, which is what the film breakdown is going to be covering. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about Rui. I want to be Rui to, maybe get the sparing, post a mismatch and he can create contact, maybe draw a foul or whatever. But a lot of Rui's offense, I'm not going to lie, I want them to be within the flow of the offense. I'm not really designing a bunch of sets for Rui. As it comes to the offensive rebounding, I think a concerted effort and like a massive attention to detail to that category can really, really help with Rui. And I think you will see an uptick in volume, but it won't be a big uptick, I think. I think maybe, I want to say Rui averaged 4 rebounds last season, so maybe he could get to 5.5, but I wouldn't necessarily expect Rui. And I hope everything I say that's negative, I hope I get proven wrong, obviously, because I want the Lakers to succeed. But I necessarily wouldn't expect a 17-7 year from Rui Hachimura. Because if that's the case, and that's what you're getting, then his contract's a bargain immediately, right? Defensively, I think if he's next to LeBron, I'm a little worried. I think if he's by himself or like next to AD and you have another 3 there or whatever, then I think there could be some juice left there. But, I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm really, really excited, guys. The season's about to start back up here soon. Again, we have our Anthony Davis film breakdown on Sunday. Our Saturday, we're going to do some Q&A stuff. I'm going to do a content kind of breakdown as well for the channel before the season starts as well, heading into next season. So exciting times. Make sure to subscribe here to the channel. Follow me on X at Sean_DABI. And till next, everybody. See ya. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.